Last segment, we looked at some of what the governor is saying about the 5-year budget projection, seeming to paint a rosy picture and announcing that we've got a lot more revenue coming in than anticipated, and some of that revenue is going to be used to pay down debts. The governor also heralding credit upgrades, though the state still has among the worst credit rating in the country, if not the worst. But moving forward, this 5-year budget projection looks good. But what does it look like to Truth in Accounting? Let's talk now with Sheila Weinberg. She's the founder and CEO of Truth in Accounting here with Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop on 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk. Sheila, thanks for taking time with us this morning. What's your general takeaway of the state's finances? Oh, hold on. I apologize. Sheila, I got to turn you up on the right pot here. So, yeah, go ahead. What's your takeaway of the state's finances?
A little bit anyway to start with. So
right on.
We're doing good. Well, the bottom line is just like when citizens went to the voting booths, they are continued to be less misled about the state's financial condition. The governor is these documents, his press release and his economic fiscal policy report are misleading by omitting, material facts. There's no mention of that the pension systems are going to be shortchanged by $4 to $5 billion every year, and we're going to continue to, dig further into the financial hole that already exists of more than $200 billion.
So when it comes to the governor heralding the credit upgrades, and I think like 6 or so have been issued, changing the outlook from negative to neutral or even positive, is that a big win for the state of Illinois and for Illinois taxpayers?
It's a win in relation to that. The state is going to be able to borrow for less money, but you have to keep in mind that even though the politicians use the credit ratings to say that they're doing well, that the financial condition is improving, that is not what the credit rating agencies themselves say that those ratings do. All the ratings is the risk to the bondholders that they're going to get paid. And if you're going and taking money and putting it away in a, quote, rainy day fund of $2 billion, that money can, just like any money in the state, can be used to pay off those bonds. So, they're going to get a higher credit rating despite, what's going on with their overall financial condition.
Sheila Weinberg with Truth in Accounting with us to talk about the governor's 5-year budget projection. Of course, the current fiscal year ends next year, June 30th. And we've got budget season coming up with the new General Assembly that's going to be seated in January. So we'll watch all those pieces come together. But Sheila, when it comes to the state's overall finances, we talked about the credit ratings, but Truth in Accounting has different types of ratings that you guys actually offer up. Where's the state land on those ratings from Truth in Accounting, and just how much debt is there per taxpayer?
Well, we do a financial state of the state every year, so we do every single state. Illinois obviously does not come out well. They're 48th in the country, and even the state's own audited financial reports indicate that the latest financial report indicates that the state is in a financial hole of more than $220 billion. And if you look, he mentioned in his press release that, he got rid of their, quote, structural deficit. But if you look at their report, he's showing that there will be a general fund, quote, surplus in fiscal year 2023. Well, keep in mind again that surplus will be completely, quote, surplus, is made because they're not even making the minimum payment on their pension credit card. And if they did, then they would have a, $2 to $5 billion, deficit. They'd have a huge deficit.
So taxpayers on the hook for all of that debt, and it's tens of billions of dollars for taxpayers. And moving forward, what are some of the best practices that Illinois should do to lower that burden, if that's possible, in the years out?
Well, if you look at it, and to answer your previous question, you can go to our data-z.org website, click on Illinois. You can see that the state, we gave them an F in contradiction to the credit ratings grade, and each taxpayer's share of that debt is $49,500. That represents the amount of taxes that future taxpayers are going to have to pay for bills that have already been accumulated. We're not talking about any future bills. So what the state can do is, come on, let's come clean with the citizens that we're really not running a surplus, that we really don't have extra money. Let's go, the best thing they could do is if you think you have extra money, which they don't, again, you are taking this to a personal level, it would be like me saying, oh, look I have $1,000 in my savings account. I'm going to put another $1,000 in there. Ignore that I have $20,000 and $200,000 in credit card debt. Just ignore that fact. And that's what they're doing. And, would it be advisable to spend the money on tax cuts or new additional programs? I would ask, again, on a personal level, if you have huge credit card debt, even though you're not even making the minimum payment on that credit card debt, should you be going on vacation and planning, cutting down your hours at work and spending on frivolous things?
I know in my household, my wife is looking at just how much interest we pay on, say, the mortgage, and tossing out the idea, hey, let's do what we can to pay that down so we don't have to pay that extra, however much it is, $1,000+ a year in interest just on the mortgage. So yeah, that's real money that can go to other things, but you got to get those debts paid. We're talking with Sheila Weinberg, Truth in Accounting founder and CEO, getting reaction to the governor's office releasing the 5-year forecast. The governor's office says shows projected long-term budgetary deficits nearly eliminated, the governor's office claims, and also boosting up the rainy day funds and doing things like paying down the state's unemployment insurance trust fund debt, which is still $1.3 billion, and looking at a variety of other projections moving forward. This is all, of course, after COVID-19, when, at the beginning of the pandemic, you had the Democrat Senate president here in Illinois putting a letter together, Sheila, asking for the federal government to give the state of Illinois $40 billion. Now, the state of Illinois didn't get necessarily that much to the state government, but altogether, public and private sector, Illinois got like $160 billion from federal taxpayers. The governor's office and Democrats, they say that they balance the budgets through their policies, and they don't say that it's because of the COVID relief. Is that true?
Well, if you didn't have the COVID relief money, then they wouldn't have balanced their budget. Now, what they're playing for some reason, I guess down there when they got the federal money, they put little F's on it, and then they used the federal money for current stuff, and so they're just playing that where money isn't fungible, and it's fungible, and just coincidentally, after they got one of the COVID relief packages, mysteriously they were able to pay down $2 to $3 billion of unpaid vendor bills, just coincidentally, but they didn't use those little F dollars. They used tax revenue. So it's like money is fungible. Come on. And the biggest thing is I'm just really concerned about, the representative form of government in Illinois, because the citizens are being misled about the state's finances. They went to the voting booth not having the correct information, and now they may be promoting tax and spending policy without the correct information.
Sheila, of course, people can check out your website to look at Illinois' finances from a taxpayer's perspective, not from a bondholder's perspective. They can also compare other states as well with Illinois. What are other states doing that either get an A or a B as opposed to Illinois' F letter grade?
Well, other states are paying into their pension plan what their actuaries say they should pay into their pension plan. In Illinois, they have this, Edgar ramp, the statutorily required contribution. That's what they use, which is just a scheme that they came up with that doesn't meet what the actuaries say they should pay. but they keep on saying, we're paying the full amount. Well, you're not paying the full amount. You're paying the full amount according to this scheme that the SEC said was, in essence, they charged Illinois with securities fraud for saying that this scheme would pay down the pension plan. I was honored to present the Truth in Accounting Award to Utah a few years ago. So I asked them, their budget director specifically, what they're doing better. And they said, facetiously, but truly, that, in Utah, we only offer the services and benefits that we can afford. In Illinois, if you think you have all this extra money, yes, it's good that you're paying down your unpaid bills, but go ahead and properly fund your pensions according to what the state's own pension plan actuaries say. Properly fund those before you claim you have a surplus, before you're offering tax cuts, before you're offering spending and additional promises.
Sheila Weinberg, greatly appreciate your time. Give us the websites again. People can go and review all this data.
Yeah, www.truthandaccounting.org and data-z.org, and look for our financial state of the cities. We'll release it in February, and bad news, Chicago will not come out well.
Has that been the years past? So looking forward to those reports as always. Truth in Accounting founder and CEO Sheila Weinberg, thanks for taking time with us this morning on WMAY.
Thank you, Greg.
This is Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop on 92.7 WMAY.